Hello everyone, welcome to the last Purple Penny video of the year. It's December the 28th today. My name's Mark. I run the Purple Penny along with my wife Catherine. The Purple Penny is a coin dealer in the northern suburbs of Adelaide, about 15 minutes north of Adelaide. We've been here for over 3 years now and been doing these videos for a couple of years. So I hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas. We've been away from the shop for 4 days. Back today. Poor old Catherine has to catch up on the mailing, and I have to get photos done and get new coins listed up on the website. Of course, we didn't have 4 days off. There's always things to do, but it was good to just do it at our own pace rather than having to rush all the time. I hope everyone out there had a great Christmas. It was very hot here in Adelaide. Christmas from the old days. It always seemed to be hot at Christmas when I was a boy, so yeah, it was like old times. I'll just say a few hellos to people. Hello Sharon, Gary, Jason, Tony, David, Veronica, Aaron and Alison. Hi. So I spent a bit of time looking around yesterday and deciding on what we were going to stick in the news this week. So the 1st of January sees the release of the new Mint Mark dollars, which you can get from the Mint. The Mint Mark Suite, we'll know the theme for that on January the 1st, but the Mint Mark Suite itself isn't available until the first week in February, and that's the $4 set that's got the Mint Mark dollar and the 3 Privy Mark dollars in there. We don't know what the theme of that is yet. There's going to be the aluminium bronze 4-coin set, a gold set and silver coin, a gold coin and a silver coin, all available first week in February. We will know what the theme is, as I said, on the 1st of January. Anyone out there going to go and line up at the Mint and strike a coin on the 1st of January? Of course, the Mint has their usual end of year competition for the last coin of the year and the first coin of the year. The usual restrictions on how early you're allowed to camp out at the Mint for the first coin of the year. I believe it's 4 AM is the first time that you're allowed to camp out there on New Year's Day. Be interesting to see what the theme is. If anyone does go along, please do take some pictures and share it with us so that we can pop it up on our Facebook page. That would be really good. Hi Greg, hi Paul, hi Glenn, Pauline and Tony. Hello everyone. Dare I mention it, I'm going to talk about it twice today. The 2022 Poppy, the price is starting to drop back a little bit, which probably is expected because everyone who wanted one for their own collections has either got one or given up on getting one, and the demand is dropping away. Of course, there's no shortage of supply. There are plenty available for sale on social media and the eBay, a lot on other marketplaces as well. I've seen a lot popping up on Facebook Marketplace and Gumtree, so they are everywhere. So it is inevitable that the price was going to drop back. Before Christmas they were usually getting over 250, and I've noticed just the last few days that they've dropped below 250 in the 230 to 250 range. So I guess if you're happy to wait another few weeks, you may well be able to pick them up for a bit less than that. As I said, I do apologise, I'll talk about red poppies twice today. Just a couple more hellos here. Thank you Facebook for scrolling to the top there for no reason. And Ogie, Philip, and thanks Aaron for the compliments on my PCGS shirt. Yeah, of course this is a PCGS shirt which comes as part of your membership with PCGS. We're no longer members with PCGS, so no more free shirts for us. Congratulations on your submission, Aaron. Aaron is just saying there that he got a coloured Crux dollar back in MS67 and he's happy with that result. That's a good grade, Aaron. Well done. Hello Bevan, Merry Christmas to you and Donna, and hello Tanya, how are you going? Next item on the news, the Isle of Man Museum. Now the Isle of Man is probably best known for a motorbike race. I believe the Isle of Man is in between Scotland and Ireland. Please correct me if that's not correct. But the Isle of Man Museum is celebrating its 100th anniversary. It opened up in 1922. Now, I normally wouldn't. Hello, Catherine. Catherine is in the other room catching up on her mailing and is taking part. Thank you for taking part, Catherine. Hello, Carolyn. Anyway, the Isle of Man Museum is experiencing its centenary, and I normally wouldn't mention such a thing, but I guess what makes the Isle of Man Museum interesting is that the very first item that became part of their property was a coin. So the very first thing that was logged as property of the Isle of Man Museum back in 1922 was a coin. You don't see coins much in museums anymore, but it was a fairly significant coin for the Isle of Man because it came from a very large hoard of Viking silver that was found on the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man was occupied by Vikings for several hundred years, and a hoard called the, hang on a second, the Balaquail hoard was found there in 1894, and that included more than 1,000 coins plus a lot of jewellery, intact jewellery and broken jewellery, mostly silver. There was a little bit of gold in there. It's the largest hoard that has been found on the island, and that picture there is of the very first item that the Isle of Man took possession of. It's a silver penny of King Edgar. King Edgar, it was struck around about 960 AD. King Edgar was known as King Edgar the Peaceful, and he reigned from 959 AD to 975 AD. He was an Anglo-Saxon English king. This particular coin is interesting simply because you can clearly make out the king's name. You can also make out the moneyer's name. It was struck in the northeast of England, weighs just over a gram, and it's silver. Now, as I said, normally wouldn't mention the centenary of a museum, but the fact that their very first coin was a coin, well, very first item was a coin, and that's the picture of the very coin there. Now, I can't show you a picture of the other side. For some reason, they don't have a picture of both sides of the coin, but a lovely little silver penny of King Edgar there that can be seen to this day in the Isle of Man Museum. So, really interesting bit of coin news there. Now, King Charles III, last week I called him King Charles II. Of course, there's already been a King Charles II. King Charles III is going to appear on English banknotes, and the designs were released in the last couple of weeks. They won't be circulating in the UK until sort of towards the middle of next year, but perhaps it gives us some indicator of what might be happening with our $5 note if our government decides to replace the Queen's portrait with King Charles III's portrait. There's some talk that that will happen. There's some talk from Republicans that the Queen's face should be removed from banknotes. When I was just doing a bit of research on this, it's amazing how much incorrect information there is out there about the kings and queens that have appeared on our banknotes. Some of it is just dead wrong. So just treat all that stuff with a grain of salt if you're reading it. But you can see examples of the banknotes there. His face is going to appear on the front of their 4 polymer banknotes, £5, £10, £20 and £50. You can see his portrait on the right there. His face is also going to appear on the clear window, the see-through window, which is sort of on the middle left of the front of the note there. The reverse of the note, or the back of the note I should say, remains unchanged from the notes that have the Queen's portrait on them. The Queen's portrait notes will remain legal tender in England. Just because there's going to be new notes issued doesn't mean that the old notes will be phased out. They'll be taken out of circulation as normal as they wear out. So a little bit of interesting news there, and perhaps if we end up with Charles's portrait on our $5 note, that we may end up with that portrait that you see there. So a bit of interesting banknote news coming out of the UK. Just jump back to the news here. Now, last week I talked about 1 ounce gold coins being given to a Salvation Army in the USA. Another story popped up this week about another Salvation Army, this time in Texas, who have over the last several years received 1 or 2 Krugerrands a year in one of their donation kettles. That's what they call them over there, donation kettles. The salvos must stand on the corners over there with some sort of bucket or something like that, and people drop donations into it. Perhaps that's a little different to what goes on here. We'll just pop up the news story there. So the salvos in Grayson County in Texas have received 2 1-ounce gold Krugerrands this year. The gold Krugerrand weighs just over 33 grams. It's 22 carats, so it's not pure gold, but once you factor in the copper that's in there, there is 1 troy ounce of gold in them. And you know, these days that's about $2,670 Australian, or what about $1,800 American. Not a bad little donation. Every time apparently that these are donated, they're wrapped up in dollar bills, so that when they dropped into the kettle they don't make a clanging noise, and the person who is donating them clearly wants to remain anonymous. And interestingly, as they're donated, they're not always donated at the same location. They're coming from different places all over town. So kudos to that person in Texas who's donating Krugerrands to the salvos. It's a pretty remarkable donation to be giving. Now, let's have a look at some comments here. We'll just jump back to there. Tony says that one day the Harkness hoard will be found. Tony's surname is Harkness, so clearly he must have a good coin collection. Perhaps he's buried it under his house, and one day someone else will find it. Hello, Ian. And Ian is saying they should put Freddie Mercury on it to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm not sure that I understand that one, Ian. Perhaps you'll have to explain it to me the next time you come into the shop. Right, so Ian also says that he's going to go out with his donation bucket tomorrow and hopefully get a Krugerrand donated to him. Right, topic of the week is 2022 highlights. I did this the same time last year, and I thought it was just worth a quick look back at 2022, given that it's going to be over in a few days. So we'll just jump over to there. So there's my list of highlights for the year, and the way I came up with these is just sort of casting my mind back, or by going back through social media and working out what people were most interested in. Now the first one there was a 2005 dollar error. If you've been in and around error coins for a little while, you'll know that 2005 Mob of Ruse dollars do pop up struck out of collar, or partial collar, or slightly off center. Now no one really knows why, and there isn't any other year that is found as commonly. Now we've handled several of them, perhaps a dozen, perhaps 20, I'm not really sure, and we've had a few of them graded, but this one was remarkable because it came back with such a lovely grade, and PCGS verified it as being off center. They are quite particular about the difference between partial collars and off centers. Partial collar has some engagement with the collar die, off center mustn't have any engagement with the collar die, and this one here, which you can see there, came back as an MS66, which Catherine and I were both surprised about. Remember where we bought it, we thought it was a nice coin, we didn't think it was MS66 nice, and we're always a little bit on the fence about whether PCGS is going to call it a partial collar or an off center. Came back off center, came back MS66, and not surprisingly sold straight away. So that was a real highlight for us of the coins that we had graded this year. It wasn't one that we kept, but it was a lovely result and a lovely error coin that has gone to a happy home. Next item, let's just have a look here, was the purchasing of our XRF tester. So if you have been watching for a few months, you would know that in about the middle of the year we went through the process of purchasing a X-ray fluorescence tester, and that's to test gold and silver, precious metals. We do buy a bit of gold and a bit of silver here, and sometimes we just need the reassurance that we are buying a genuine coin or a genuine bar, or whatever it happens to be. It's also useful for evaluating errors, gold nuggets and those sorts of things. So this is the XRF tester here. If you haven't seen it before, that's our Olympus Vanta XRF tester that we make pretty good use of here in the shop. We can shoot shoots X-rays out of that end and gives us a readout of the composition of whatever it is that we're testing on that end. Now that for you is useful because it means that when we're selling gold and silver coins, we've usually tested them, especially gold coins, we've always tested them. So we're fairly content that the coins that we sell are genuine. It's good for our regulars that come in here because we're quite happy to test things for customers when they come in here, and you know, it's just a free service that we're happy to provide people. And it also means that we can buy broken jewelry and stuff like that if it walks in through the front door, and make gold and silver bullion available from our website, which I know a few people out there use, purchase and stack. So you know, the XRF tester, it was a big purchase. It cost a lot of money. It took us a long time to pick one, and we're still learning how to use it best. And we're still not learning. We're still not using it enough, especially when many coins of the same type come in. So you know, it's a super useful tool for us, and it's a purchase that neither of us regret. Next item was our first Adelaide pound. We've never handled an Adelaide pound. An Adelaide pound, we'll just pop up the one that we purchased. You know, Catherine and I have been doing this now for 14 years, and we've never handled an Adelaide pound before. An Adelaide pound is basically a sovereign size coin that was struck here in Adelaide in late 1852 and early 1853. They only made about 40 or 50,000 of them, and most of them were melted down in the 19th century because the gold they contained was worth more than the face value. They were only made for a short time because the Queen didn't want coins being made in unauthorised fashion in the colonies, so they are fairly scarce, you know, perhaps with a few hundred still available on the market. Most of them are damaged or heavily worn. This one here has a filled hole on it, so it was hung from a chain, and someone has fairly skillfully filled the hole and recreated the legends around that area. We sold it with that fully described. It was, I think it was about $3,500 I think we sold this for, which, you know, is a pretty remarkable, pretty low amount of money really for something that is still in fairly decent condition and are so hard to find. So it was a real pleasure for us to handle this Adelaide pound. We only had it for a day, sold straight away, and we look forward to buying another one in the future. And you know, part of running this shop that makes it fun is handling things like that, which you know, for us are iconic coins. And Catherine and I are still coin collectors, and we still get a real shiver down our spine when we see things like this. So it was really great to have one. I guess we've got to tick some other things off the list now. We've never had a 1930 penny, so perhaps we'll set our goal to buy one of those next year. Right, we've just got a few comments here which I will address. James says the XRF would pick up a metal in his head or just the empty space. Well, I probably wouldn't advise shooting it at your head because it does emit X-rays. Part of the process of actually owning it is that we actually have to be licensed to use it, so we need to be licensed to own it. It needs to be registered with the state government, and then anyone who actually uses it needs a license to actually use it, and you actually have to sit a test to use it, and that includes the X-ray safety being a large part of that. So yeah, I wouldn't advise shooting it at your head. Thank you, Aaron, for your kind words there. Aaron says if you've enjoyed the videos and service over the past 12 months, please leave us a Google review. Every review does help for us, and we tend to ask for them. If people give us feedback, we'll always ask for a review, good or bad. Go and pop them up over on Google if you have done business with us, and just tell us what you think. You'll always get an answer from us if you do pop up a review over there. And for small businesses like ours, family businesses, those Google reviews are really our lifeblood. It's what brings people here into the shop. Veronica says they're beautiful coins. Is it a type 1 or a type 2? So Veronica there is talking about the Adelaide pound. They made two types of Adelaide pound. They have very slightly different designs. The type 1, the dies cracked very quickly. They broke very quickly, so they only used the type 1 dies for a very short period, and then they went to type 2, and the one that we had was a Type 2. Steve says, do you have to wear a special apron or shield when using the XRF scanner? No, we just have to use it in a safe manner, and that means that we know what the dispersion of the X-rays is out of the end of it, how many degrees that is, and it is very well designed so that they just come out of the end, they aren't emitted out of the side of the device, and you just got to make sure that you don't point it at your face or at your legs or at your crutch or wherever however you happen to be using it. Keep your hands away from it, and I guess the other thing is that the amount of X-rays, the amount of energy that it actually emits is surprisingly small, and we did some calculations as part of our licensing to actually show that, even if you pulled the trigger 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year for 10 years, that the amount of radiation that you would absorb is negligible. So yeah, it is a fairly safe device. Ian says, where were the Adelaide pounds made? In the Treasury in King William Street. I think they were made there, Ian, but don't hold me to that. We do have a book at home that I can look that up. I'll get back to you on that, Ian. That's a great question. Thank you, Kim, for wishing us a Merry Christmas. Yes, we had a good break. Thank you. So we'll just jump back to the news here. Oh no, we don't want that one. We want this one. Sorry about that. So it was great to be able to handle our first Adelaide pound. Of course, in September, the biggest bit of coin news of the year and probably of the last 50 years here in Australia was the fact that the Queen passed. It certainly caused just an absolute furor here in the shop. The day that she passed was it was just craziness in here, and to be honest, for the next 4 weeks the phone didn't stop ringing, people didn't stop bringing in coins. We got interviewed several times by media. It was just a remarkable event as far as coin collectors can go, and certainly here in Australia was, I think, the biggest coin collecting event since decimal changeover in 1966. I doubt whether we'll see anything like it in our lifetimes. Charles is already an elderly man, I guess, and we hope that he lasts many years, but if he only lasts 3 or 4 years, the drama will be, I suggest, a lot less than when the Queen passed. So the passing of the Queen was, it's hard to call it a highlight, but it brought many people to the hobby that weren't in it before. It made many people look at their coins and the change that passes through their hands that they never did before. It made many people dig out their collections and either sell it or reactivate it and get back into collecting. So it's hard to see positives in someone's passing, but certainly from the coin collecting point of view, it had an amazingly positive impact on the hobby as a whole. Certainly some of the questions drove me and Catherine nuts, especially the people that were ringing up at 5 to 10 on the day that she passed wanting to know if we had any Charles coins yet. But there's no denying it was a remarkable event. The next item was the Adelaide Coin and Banknote Expo, which was held in the first weekend in October, and that was just not even 4 weeks after the Queen had passed. The hall on Victoria Parade there in the middle of the city was full of dealers, 23 or 24 dealers. It was full of dealers, and even though the Royal Australian Mint didn't attend the expo, the number of people that attended the expo, the number of people that are coming to have a look and collectors, just exceeded everyone's expectations. No one expected what happened. The expo was held over 3 days. The first day, and I can say this, we did twice as much business on the first day as what we did for the entire expo the last time it was held in 2019. So twice as much business on the first day. The second day was quieter, but we did just as much business on the second day as we did on the whole expo in 2019. And the third day was quiet, but we almost did as much on that day as we did at the whole expo in 2019. It was a remarkable day. A remarkable 3-day event. I doubt whether we will see another one like it. It will be interesting to compare it to next year, how it goes next year. But again, it was really heartening just to see all of the collectors that came out of the woodwork that were really interested in buying things at the expo. We bought some pretty amazing things off of other dealers and people that walked in, and we sold so much stuff. It was it was insane. Catherine, for the first time ever at an expo, actually had to come back to the shop here and restock our coin accessories that we'd taken to the expo. It was remarkable how many coin holders and album pages and folders that we sold. It was I can remember watching her pack it up on the Friday of the expo, thinking we'd never sell all of that, and it was all gone on the first day. It was all gone on the first day. It was crazy. So yeah, a real highlight for us, the expo. Now, Ian says it was a fantastic event. Yes, it was. Carolyn says, "Hi Mark, do you know if the Mint are going to do a pop-up in 2023?" Now, I think that pop-ups are the only remote events that the Mint is doing. That's what I had heard. They're not going to be attending any more shows, and they will only do pop-ups. Now, I don't know if they're doing any in 2023. That's a question that's best addressed to them. I hope they are, because it brings people out. So perhaps go and send them a message on Facebook, Carolyn, and see if you get an answer out of them about that. And Justin says there appears to be many new collectors now, and I agree with that. There are a lot more people collecting since the Queen's passing than there were beforehand. Next item on the list, of course, was the Poppy release in the first week in November, the 10th anniversary Remembrance Red Poppy $2 coin. I think that was a golden convergence of factors that we probably won't see again anytime soon. The Red Poppy $2 coin has always been the favourite $2 coin. The Queen only passed about 8 weeks before, and the media, because of the furor around the Queen passing and the coins that were in the media were picking up on anything coin related. And that release was like nothing I've ever seen before. We had 100 people lined up out the front of the shop here. I will just say that from our point of view, the release went very smoothly. It couldn't have gone any better for us. We sold our allocation, without any troubles. We kept our regulars happy. We managed to disperse some to new collectors who lined up. We did a ballot and made them available to people that were remote from the shop. The Mint copied us and held their own ballot. No, they didn't really copy us, but they held a ballot as well. I think that the fact that the Mint's website crashed due to the demand is, I guess, a coming of age of the hobby. If the scalpers have arrived and the flippers have arrived and their bots have arrived, then it shows you that the hobby has reached the mainstream. It really has become part of the public consciousness. And while it was terrible that the website crashed and people didn't get what they want, I think that we should all be happy about the fact that the hobby is really healthy and there are so many people chasing that particular coin. I realise it leaves a bitter taste in people's mouths that didn't get them or had to overpay for them, but overall it was a very big release that we probably won't see again anytime soon. Last item there was our gold in December here in the shop. We have bought so much gold in December, it was just crazy. It was just coming from everywhere. $200 gold coins, world gold, sovereigns and half sovereigns, just many of them coming in here. And if you look at our website, you'll know that they have all mostly moved on. I don't know what the go was with it. We've never seen anything like it here in the shop with the amount of gold that came in and that we've pushed out the door. So to me, when I think back in 6 months' time, that's really going to stick in my mind. Was just how much was coming in the front door of the shop here. So a big highlight for me was that. Right, that's the end of the highlights. We'll just address a couple of comments here. And I'm going to ignore that comment about HH $2 coins. Peter, hello Peter, welcome Peter. Peter is a well-known numismatist, and you should head over to his website, which is called thesandpit.net, and there's a great article there on fake coloured $2 coins. Thank you for writing that, Peter. I think it was a great article. And David says, in the news this week was the future rebranding of what was the Australian Coin and Banknote magazine. So yes, CAB, Australasian Coin and Banknote magazine. John Mulhall, the editor who has run that magazine by himself for many years, has had some health issues, and as a result, the last I think it was the last 2 editions of this year were not published due to John's health problems, and CAB has been bought by a large dealer that is up in Queensland, and you'll probably know who that is. I believe it's going to be rebranded back to the Australian Coin Review. There are big plans to, I guess, give the whole magazine a kick in the butt. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't really know. Catherine and I will still be involved in some way. We've already been asked to perhaps increase our contributions to the magazine. We were very non-committal on that because we don't have any time anyway. But CAB, for the time being at least, looks like it is a thing of the past and will be resurrected as the Australian Coin Review, and we'll see what happens. It's hard to know whether they'll get any traction out of it, but certainly the person who is behind the purchase of the Australasian Coin and Banknote magazines, he was keen to change the mix of content when I spoke to him on the phone, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Peter says, when I have politicians asking me about Charles III coins, you know the hobby is being noticed. Yes, for a politician to notice something, Peter, it would take a remarkable amount of public interest. So yeah, the hobby is definitely being noticed. Justin says, good pricing on our gold coins. Now, Justin, we try really hard to price things fairly. Obviously, we need to make money on them, but the margins that we make on gold coins are fairly small, but we do try to price them competitively and move them on quickly, and that's why if you do ask for discounts on gold coins, the answer is always going to be no, because there's nothing in them for us. So yeah, thank you for noticing that. Aaron says, David, November CAB was issued. Okay, so it was the yearbook that has been dropped. Aaron was wondering why he hadn't got his subscription. That's why, Aaron. Now, from what I understand, the new owners of the CAB magazine are going to honour all existing financial arrangements with advertisers and subscribers, so you will, I'm sure you'll be made good there, Aaron. And Samantha says, do you know what the privy coins will be? No, you'll find out on the 1st of January, Samantha. So stay tuned. On the 1st of January, the Mint will announce what the theme is. All right, that's it for 2022. I quit. No, not really. That's the last video for the year. Thanks everyone for taking part throughout the year. Thank you for our viewers on Facebook who participate with this video in real time. Thank you for the viewers on YouTube who catch up later. As always, if you have any suggestions for these videos, please contact me via phone. Always happy to talk to people. Give us a call and we'll have a chat, or send us a Facebook message or a YouTube message or an email or a letter. We do still get letters here, and I'll do my best to pop it into the videos for 2023. Happy New Year, everyone, and we'll see you next year. Bye for now.